Tom Vasel here with Best of Publishers, and today we're taking a look at a publisher from our childhood, Milton Bradley. Now, Milton Bradley is really no more than just a design label that Hasbro slaps on things because Hasbro bought them. And in this list here, I try to talk about Milton Bradley games before they were kind of totally absorbed by Hasbro. Some of these still are going to be Milton Bradley Hasbro acquisitions, but if it's like a straight up Hasbro game, I put that on the Hasbro list earlier. So Milton Bradley, here are my 10 favorite games from them. Number 10, Fireball Island. Now it is clearly not a good game, but I love it anyway. Fireball Island, if you've ever seen it, is a big giant plastic board with a volcano and an idol at the top that's spitting fireballs out. You need to go get this jewel from the idol. And so you're moving your people up these spots. It's a pretty bad roll and move game. And these marbles roll down and knock them down sometimes. Super cool idea though, so much fun. Someday I'd love to see this one redone. Number 9 is Battle Masters. Battle Masters was like a kid's version of Warhammer 40,000. This big giant plastic playmat and all these plastic things. The one side had a giant war machine, the other side had a giant ogre or something like that. And you just moved around and fought each other. It was like playing with huge toys, great fun for kids. Number 8 is Crossfire. Now, Crossfire is being used by a lot of games, but I'm talking about the one with the horrible 90s commercial where you sat there and you had these little marbles and you shot at the other person and you just kept pulling that trigger and you were shooting not at the other person, but at these targets in the middle, trying to hit the target, and they were shooting him and you were loading your gun and shooting it back and forth, and when you're done, your trigger finger wouldn't move for days. Such great fun. Crossfire. Number 7, I'm going to say Mission Command Air. Or I could say Mission Command Sea. Mission Command Land wasn't that good. But Mission Command Air and Mission Command Land were actually reprints of previous games. Mission Command Air Sea was a new one. They're all okay in their own right. But Mission Command Air is the one that has the most nostalgia for me. This was a reprint of Screaming Eagles. And this one was, there was jets and you just kept looping around the same board and you would play a card that would let you move in different maneuvers. And then you would try to get behind the other planes and shoot them with missiles or cannons. Simple fun, but we enjoyed it. Number 6 is True Colors. Do you want to end a game night with an argument? True Colors just might work. In True Colors, you will turn off a question and it will say, who is the person here who is the life of the party? Each person's assigned a color. You pick the people that you're voting for. You can vote for the same person twice or 2 different people. You put them in the middle, like a little voting booth. Then before we see who everyone voted for, you guess how many people voted for you. You say, I think I got the most votes, or I got no votes. And then you get points if you correctly predict how many people voted for you, which isn't fun when you think you're the life of the party and you find no one voted for you. Or when they say, who's the biggest baby, and you have the most votes. But still fun. Number 5 on my list is Guess Who Extra. Not Guess Who. Guess Who's okay. I would play Guess Who to death as a child. But Guess Who Extra did a couple things. First of all, add a little bit of electronics to it, not necessary. But it also added different boards. But it also allowed you to play with 2 players. Now, you could do this with the original Guess Who if you wanted to, but it was actually in the rules for Guess Who Extra. And when you have 2 people in Guess Who and you're trying to guess and you say, are either of them blonde? Do both of them have a big nose? And you ask either or both questions, and then the yes or no's are much harder, and it gets a little trickier to figure out, but it is a lot more fun. Number 4 is Hero Quest. There are a lot of dungeon crawls. You can see some of them behind me as you take a party and you walk through a dungeon fighting monsters. And Hero Quest was like the first one most people played. It was like a role-playing game where they brought it to a board game. It's simple. You go through, you fight plastic miniatures. It looked really cool. The front of the box was like, yeah! And it's just an amazingly cool game. Probably too simple for me to play most of the time now. But wow, did I have fun playing this as a kid. Hero Quest. Number 3 is Samurai Swords. This was in the Milton Bradley Game Master series. Giant boxes full of plastic miniatures. The Axis and Allies, Samurai Swords, Fortress America. I think there was 6 of them in total. But Samurai Swords came with little plastic swords, was this big thing, looked like Risk. It feels like an advanced version of Risk. This was just an amazingly cool game. Recently, it's been remade as Ikuza. Same basic game, just lots of fun. Samurai Swords. Number 2 is Scotland Yard. I remember the commercials for Scotland Yard too, where the guy was running around and people were trying to find him. And this game, which has really spawned an entire genre of games where one person's hiding and everyone else is trying to find that person. In Scotland Yard, there's Mr. X, and he's moving around by taxi, bus, or subway. Everyone else is trying to get the net and catch him. He has a couple tricks up his sleeves, the black tickets or the boat. Very cool, fun, probably in favor of the detectives, but at the same time, it's really fun. They also made later on, they made a New York one and so on, but it's the basic game, Scotland Yard. And my favorite game from Milton Bradley is another one of those big box Game Master series, and that one is Fortress America. Wolverines! I love the concept of, I love the America fighting off these three huge nations, fighting them. I like the one versus all part of that game. It was full of miniatures. It came with polyhedral dice that were not six-sided dice. It was really cool because at the beginning, the U.S. was getting slapped around, and as the game goes by, U.S. gets stronger and stronger with lasers that just blow things up. You had to watch your supply zones. Was red going to get decimated this time? How far would yellow make it? Fantasy Flight Game made a nicer, newer version of it later on that was slightly more balanced, but this original game, I can't tell you how many times I played it as a kid, loved it, and still look fondly on it to this day. Those are my 10 favorite games from Milton Bradley. You probably have nostalgic picks from them too. Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been Best of Publishers, Milton Bradley.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.